Hey, thanks so much for finding the video. Do us a favor. If you haven't done so yet, please subscribe. Be sure to leave your comment. We love to interact. Enjoy the video. The Saints, because of their cap situation, were thought not to be a candidate to use the salary cap, the franchise tag. If you're not familiar with the franchise tag, the quick Cliff's Notes version is if a player is going to be a free agent, a team can use their franchise tag on that player, preventing them from going into free agency, but you must pay that player the average of the top 5 salaries in the league at that position. So for safety, that's $10.5 million. Considering the Saints are, say it with me, in cap hell, right? There was no way the Saints were going to use the franchise tag because they don't have any money to use the franchise tag. They're trying so hard to get under the salary cap. How could they possibly justify spending $10.5 million adding that onto the salary cap for 2021? But they did it. Saints have officially filed the paperwork on Marcus Williams' franchise tag, which means more cap gymnastics, but Mickey Loomis makes it work. That according to @RapSheet Ian Rappaport on Twitter. To be clear, Ian, it's not Mickey Loomis who makes it work. It's Kai Harley who makes it work and has for many years, as he is the Saints' resident capologist who makes all of the numbers work and gets all of these contracts in order. Part of me is kind of glad that Kai doesn't get the credit nationally that he deserves, because if he did, that might put him on more teams' radar to take him away from the Saints. But my guess is people internally within the league know very well who he is and what he does for the New Orleans Saints. But the Saints have used the franchise tag now on Marcus Williams, and a couple of things, just if we're just talking the financials of this decision, using the franchise tag on Marcus Williams means that the Saints are now, after having done all the work they had done to get into that $44 million range over the cap that we had discussed, this now puts them at about $55.1 million over the cap. So, man, you were heading in the right direction, and then it's like you have all this credit card debt, and you're steadily paying it off, right? You're in a good spot. You're like, all right, listen, we got credit card debt. Let's halt the spending. Let's only pay for what we have to pay, and let's be very aware of what's coming in, that we're paying down that debt, okay? More than just the minimum payment due. Just let's hammer this thing and pay down that debt. And they were doing it, man. And they're down like 40, 50, $60 million they had taken off that ledger. But then they walked by the window and saw that beautiful pair of shoes. Like, God, scan the card. Take my money. Take my money. Just couldn't help but do it, man. But listen, this shouldn't be the franchise tag is a bit of a surprise, but I'll give you a qualifier in just a second. What is not a surprise is that the Saints are finding a way to keep Marcus Williams on the roster. So much of our conversation about Marcus Williams is the Minneapolis Miracle and some of his misses in the defensive secondary. But Sean Payton and this coaching staff have always gushed about Marcus Williams and the job that he has done for this defense. And before this season started, the 2020 season started, we did it on this show. I gave you a breakdown of the top safeties in the NFL through the first 3 years of their career, where they were relative to Marcus Williams, and he was on par with every single one of them. It doesn't matter who you're talking about. If it was Landon Collins or Budda Baker or name it, the best safeties in the NFL, when you look at every statistical measurable, Marcus Williams was right there with the best of them in the NFL. So what I'm telling you is, if you've been critical of Marcus Williams, your eyes are deceiving you. Because, as they say, the eye and the sky don't lie. You put on the film, and he's been a guy that has undeniably been a great defensive player for the New Orleans Saints. I mean, there are objective measurables that say he is right there among the best in the NFL. So, Marcus Williams is going to be back. Now, here's the other part of that. The player doesn't have to sign the franchise tender until the summer if they intend to play that season under the franchise tag. It is still very possible, maybe even likely, that the Saints and Marcus Williams agree to a long-term contract, which, like we've talked about with Ryan Ramczyk and Marshawn Lattimore, lowers the Saints' cap number in 2021. You backload the contract, so you have a bigger cap hit at the end of the deal, which gives you some leverage the front of the deal. That's a very real possibility for this still. Because it's clear the Saints want Marcus Williams on this roster for more than just a year. But if the two sides can't come to an agreement today, this is a way to make sure that he doesn't walk the day free agency begins and he gets a big deal somewhere else. This ties him to you to at least give you the opportunity to negotiate a longer-term deal or have him on the roster in 2021 at a very high price tag, and then you see if you can figure out a longer-term deal next year. But for now, the Saints have exercised the franchise tag. They've used it on Marcus Williams. We'll see if they're able to agree to a long-term deal, but this most certainly means the Saints and Trey Hendrickson will part ways. If the Saints exercise the franchise tag on Marcus Williams, they were only going to be able to afford really one high-priced free agent this offseason, and they've chosen Marcus Williams. They see his value on this defense. So, hey, Marcus Davenport, it's time. Carl Granderson, it's time. The Saints are going to have to rely on other guys to step up and fill that gap at the defensive end spot opposite Cam Jordan, because this basically spells the end of Trey Hendrickson's time in New Orleans. But a new chapter for Marcus Williams is the Saints clearly want the safety and part of this defense for years to come, and will certainly be part of the Saints defense for at least 2021 and very likely beyond. But more cap work to do. Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. I love to interact, and be sure to hit the red subscribe button below.